Exploring ancient practices for modern stress relief. How do you explore it? First, you understand. Understanding demands the knowledge. Knowledge comes from the Eastern wisdom, and the Eastern wisdom is 10,000 years old, with 3,000 texts and more than 3,000 teachers have been teaching the same principles, but personalizing to individuals and the groups. Groups in the monastery, also individuals in the monastery. And in the last almost, I would say, 100 years, these Eastern wisdom tradition has been explored by thousands of researchers. So one common area is that by regular practice of meditation or mindfulness, it helps you to bring down your hypertension, reduces your anxiety, minimizes your fatigue, induces a deeper state of relaxation. But does the Eastern wisdom has only one practice, that is mindfulness or meditation? That is why it is important to understand and explore the ancient practices for modern stress relief. We should understand 3 points to explore according to the Eastern wisdom, because we are talking of ancient practices. So the Eastern wisdom says 3 steps, 3 stages. Janati means to know it. Ichhati, janati, ichhati, to desire it. And third is to practice it. Ichhati karoti. But these 3 factors contains many sub-steps. I should know it correctly. How to know it correctly? I should know the principles of the Eastern wisdom. Take an example, simple example. According to the Eastern wisdom, we have 3 bodies. One outermost body is the physical. The sense organ can perceive it. You can see my beard and you can see the body the same way I can see you. But can I see your thoughts, feeling, and emotions? What is going on inside? No. So that is why it is known as the subtle body of thoughts, feeling, emotions coming from the four functional aspects of the mind, memory, intellect, and the I thought, ego. Ego is also part of the subtle body. Now, what about the third body? Third body is known as the causal body. Causal body means what? It is the cause of the subtle body and also the physical body. What we have been saying in Eastern wisdom is that we remove the root cause of the problem and the suffering. The root cause of the problem is ignorance. What happens if I don't know my real nature? Then I adapt. I project the false nature. So when I project the false nature, it has an elements of impulsivity, projection, delusion, anxiety, duality, conflict. So it means what I am made up of these factors of anxiety, duality, conflict, all coming from delusion. And delusion comes from the ignorance. So if I remove that ignorance, yes. So now coming to the ancient practices, that is our title. You gave me this title to speak on this. So first thing to understand that we have 52 groups of practices. I have researched more than 300 texts out of 3,000 texts. You cannot complete it in one's lifetime. So in these 300 texts, I found there are 52 groups of practices. Out of the 52 groups of practices, each group has many subgroups and hundreds of practices. Which practice is good for you or good for a group? We need to understand. For that, we need to acquire a knowledge from a teacher who is well versed with the journey of the Eastern wisdom. Take a simple example. We have practices related to intellect. We have practices related to mind and emotions. We have physical practices. We have breathing practices. We have practices to bring the harmony in the body, mind, and the intellect. We have the ethical and the moral practices like this. We have hundreds of practices. Take one example. You like, for example, you like coffee. Because you like coffee, it gives you happiness. Every time the coffee is on your table, it gives you happiness. So now liking happiness creates an addiction, a habit, an impulsive nature. So you see that now if you don't get the coffee, you say, oh my goodness, today is a bad morning. Really? Again, you see that you fall into a delusion. Is it a bad morning? Did the sun rise differently today? No, it is my mind, impulsivity, habit, delusion, I thought is projecting. And once you have a bad morning, the whole day passes in stress and anxiety. I'm invoking one practice of the Eastern wisdom, and that practice belongs to the intellect. Intellect that gives you the knowledge. So now the intellect wants to pursue that and question whether the happiness is located in the coffee because it makes me happy, and I express that way. So if happiness is located in the coffee, it means the happiness is the property of coffee. Do you agree? So if you agree that happiness is the property of coffee, why do people go for soft drinks? Why the people drink vodka and etc.? Why they don't drink the coffee? Because happiness is located there. So our master says when you inquire, happiness is not present in the coffee. Pleasure is not present in the coffee. Still I experience the pleasure, but why and how I experience that pleasure? I experience the pleasure because I have projected an imaginary pleasure in the coffee. Who puts that imaginary pleasure in the coffee? It is the mind. Why the mind puts that imaginary pleasure in the coffee? Because it likes coffee. See, just continue to inquire. So when you inquire and ask mind why you like coffee, why you don't like tea, it is by default. The mind takes a sip and the mind processes the information, and it takes for granted that I like coffee without any reason. So majority of our emotions which results into emotional challenges comes from impulsive nature. Did you understand that? When I say I like you, so I like you. Another example. I fall in love with this beautiful girl. You fall in love, impulsive nature. You like her and you are attached to it. Now, you see, this is the practice of discernment. Power of the intellect to invoke the practice of discernment. So what the discernment does? Discernment just segregates, it separates the ignorance from the wisdom. It separates the real from the false. So now you start reflecting that because I like, and that liking is being repeated by a thought in the mind, and it causes the attachment. Because I'm attached, it creates a projection that coffee contains the pleasure, or this girl will make me happy, or this boy will make me happy. You see how the mind at the subtler level processes the information without knowing it. What does that mean? In ignorance. What that means? When you think, speak, and act in life in ignorance, it is bound to create the problem and suffering. Not only that, there is a young guy who's 35 years old. He went to a restaurant. He was having a table near another table where 5 beautiful girls were sitting. He went there to eat, to dine, but his mind for an hour was totally obsessed with one girl sitting on another table. And when he came outside, he has been my student. When he came outside and he called me, he said, I am so crazy, sir. But why you are so crazy? My whole 1 hour, mind was so much obsessed seeking the pleasure while eating the food. Only power of discernment. The practice of discernment can help you get rid of it. No meditation can help you, or any meditation or mindfulness can help you to get the calmness for a while, but because of your thought process has created a lot of impressions. So that is what I offer, my friend, the Eastern wisdom coaching, to get the right knowledge, to have the right perception, to have the right action, to have the right result, and ultimately, this is one example. Besides, you already know about mindfulness and meditation practices. So this is how we have to explore the ancient practices for modern stress